Good morning and welcome back to our daily devotional. We've been going through the book A View from the Zoo by Gary Richmond, a man that worked as a veterinary assistant at the LA Zoo. And let's get started with this week with a chapter called Anybody for an Elephant. And there's your picture. All right, here we go. You never know what might happen when you do someone a favor. When an admiral of the United States Navy tried to help out the premier of Cambodia, it led to all sorts of trouble at the Los Angeles Zoo. This is the shameful story. Only the names have been changed, as there is no further need to embarrass any of the irresponsible parties. During the late 1960s and early 1970s, Los Angeles was known to be the only city in the United States with its own foreign policy. Our mayor was out of town as often as possible, nursing a delusion of grandeur and embracing thoughts of the presidency. He was always speaking on behalf of our Vietnam policy and making lots of friends in the military. It was one of those friendships that led to the Los Angeles Zoo being asked to accept a male elephant. The story of the veterinarians and I received firsthand from the assistant director of the zoo was stranger than fiction. The premier of Cambodia had become deathly ill and was in need of a delicate surgical process not available in his own country. The nearest help available was on an American aircraft carrier stationed off the coast of his embattled kingdom. So the Navy flew him to the carrier, and a team of expert surgeons saved his life. The Cambodians had a strange way of saying thank you. A simple thank you note would have been more than enough, but tradition is tradition and must be observed. The Cambodian tradition demanded that a male elephant be given to the man most responsible for saving another's life. And the premier decided that the admiral directing the fleet operations from the aircraft carrier was the man deserving of that honor. Now, the admiral was the epitome of a crusty old salt. He had a raspy voice, short white hair, and skin wrinkled and blotched from thousands of hours of chafing wind, salt spray, and reflected sun from all the seas of the world. He was just the kind of man who didn't need an elephant. But it would be an unforgivable breach of protocol to refuse a gift of such a magnitude. So, in the style of a man who has learned to survive wars and presidents, he acknowledged the offer and began making plans to accept the elephant. I'll bet you're thinking, well, what's the problem? A free elephant sounds like a pretty good deal, right? Wrong. The problem is the elephant was a male. Male elephants are dangerous. They resist training and become unmanageable at various times during the year. After many deaths of keepers and trainers, zoos throughout the world have decided to keep only females. When the admiral called the mayor, we assumed the conversation must have proceeded something like this. Mayor, it's the admiral. Your city has a fine zoo, I'm told. Yes, Admiral, I practically built it myself. The wife and I have come by a little gift, and we would like to donate it to your zoo. Sounds great, Admiral. What is it? It's a male elephant, Mayor. Sounds like a generous gift. Let me call our people at the zoo and make the arrangements. So the mayor called the zoo. We know how the conversation went on our end. Mayor, we really can't accept the male elephant. It's just too dangerous. That animal would hurt somebody out here. You could count on it, Your Honor. The mayor took the news reluctantly and phoned the hopeful admiral to break the bad news. At this point, we can only speculate on the pressure that was exerted on the mayor. Anyway, the mayor called back our way and addressed our director in the following manner. I would consider it a personal favor if you would provide a home for the admiral's elephant. It will require that you send some of your staff to Cambodia to pick it up. The Navy will pick up the tab and your people will go first class. I trust you'll have everything arranged at the zoo so that we can say thank you for the Admiral's generous gift. By the way, the Admiral's wife has made a small request. She would like the tusks as a souvenir. I trust you will work that out also. I really do appreciate your cooperation in this opportunity to help our country. It would be impossible to refuse to do the mayor a personal favor, so our director, yes, Your Honor, Your Honored him half to death and agreed to care for the male elephant. He was met with a lot of resistance by the staff, but no one wanted to call the mayor back, so the date was fixed. A team was sent to the other side of the earth to receive an expensive gift. Expensive for us, that is. It was to cost America more than $300,000 just to accept the elephant. To tell you the truth, there were a number of us that would have loved to go to Cambodia. We were disappointed when only one keeper was chosen. The director and the head administrator of the Los Angeles Zoo Association went to handle the protocol and make the necessary arrangements. A crate would be needed to be built, and preparation for the extensive flight would need to be made. Our clever director had this enormous crate built out of teak, tons of it, all of which was to become his when the elephant was unloaded at the Los Angeles Zoo. The group was gone for 2 weeks, and the zoo was abuzz with gossip and speculation concerning the male elephant. Every keeper was sure that they would have told the mayor where to get off, but theirs was breaking bravery. We all would have done what the director did. Still, break time was the only opportunity we got to direct the zoo, and we tried to make the best of it. The return was well attended by those who anticipated a raging bull elephant. The crate was a good deal smaller than expected, and although it was teak, it was unfinished, and no one suspected that it had any value at all. So much for the director's clever plan. When the door was swung open, the keeper who had flown to Cambodia led the elephant out of the crate. He was the most pitiful specimen we had ever seen. He was suffering from malnutrition and was clearly depressed. His eyes lackluster, and even walking was an effort. We were told that the little male's name was Samaritan, which means prosperity in Cambodian. If this poor excuse for an Asian elephant was their idea of prosperity, we were being given a graphic display of how depleted their nation had become. As a veterinarian, I began the examination. We discovered one thing after another that would require extensive treatment. Samaritan was filled with internal parasites, which explained his poor condition. He would have to be isolated from the other elephants while he was being treated. He also had a suspicious-looking lumps all over his body, which turned out to be another type of worm that burrows under the skin. Each worm was needed to be removed surgically. It was a process that would take hours and hours. Samaritan was too weak to be tranquilized, so the removing of his tusks for the admiral's wife would have to wait until his condition improved dramatically. As time passed, Samaritan did improve, but as he improved, he became less docile. It was clear that it would only be a matter of time until somebody got hurt. No one can stop an angry elephant from doing harm if harm is what he wants to do. The official day to say thank you to the Premier of Cambodia and the Admiral came with pomp and pageantry. The zoo director thanked the mayor for the contact that led to the procurement of this rarely exhibited animal. The mayor thanked the admiral and his wife for thinking of Los Angeles when it came time to find a home for this generous gift. And he thanked America for giving him an opportunity to serve his world. Cambodian officials again thanked the admiral for saving their beloved premier. I never expected to see that many liars plying their trade in one location again. No greater invitation for lightning has ever been issued unanswered. The best thing that happened that day was a visit by the beautiful actress Candice Bergen. She was there gathering information for an uncomplimentary article that she was writing about the mayor. The article was entitled "The Man in the Empty Suit." Several keepers were only too glad to explain how the mayor's pressure on the zoo to accept the elephant was sure to lead to an injury or even death of anyone responsible for its care. The keepers were prophetic. An incident did occur which could have been fatal. A keeper sustained a severe back injury from Samaritan, and plans were made to remove the elephant from the collection. After 2 years, the now healthy but unpredictable male was donated to a zoo in Mexico. As far as I know, that's where he is at today. As I thought through this story, I found 3 lessons that beg to be taught. First, there were many times for people to say no. The admiral could have refused to take the elephant, and in doing so, saved the United States government $300,000. The mayor could have refused the admiral's offer when he discovered the danger factor in order to protect the keepers. The director could have said no on general principles and stood by the men that he was responsible to protect. Learning when to say no to situations that have no value or are counterproductive divide wise men from fools. But this story owned no wise men. Second, we are never bound to obey anybody else's traditions. Dr. Charles Sedgwick, our greatest veterinarian, once told me, and I quote, "Gary, always be loyal to your own principles, and you'll never have to worry whom to be loyal to." We only have to listen to the scripture and our own conscience. Any other voices need not apply. Third, we need to know that there are unexpected costs when we go out of our way to help others. By saving the premier's life, the admiral chose to be a good Samaritan. If we choose to play the role of good Samaritan, and we should, it is sure to cost us more than we first anticipate. Do you remember the story of the Good Samaritan? It's found in Luke 10:25 through 37. The Good Samaritan was good because he went out of his way. He even anticipated that the favor would cost more than he had already paid. It cost him time, energy, and money, and there isn't much more that we can give. I have a close friend who tells a story of his youth, Sonny, who was late to school and had chosen to hitchhike to get there quicker. Fortunately, a benevolent old man pulled over and picked him up. Sonny thanked him for his kindness and made small talk as they motored down Washington Boulevard in Pasadena. Sonny broke into their conversation and said, "You can let me off here, sir." The old man looked to both sides of the street and said in a confused tone, "But I don't see any school, son." "The school's a block up, sir. I can walk. I don't want to take you out of your way." The old gentleman spoke in a firm but kind way and said, "Son, when I stopped and picked you up a few minutes ago, I set out to do you a favor. Now, if I don't go out of my way, I don't figure I've done you one." Take a moment and think. When was the last time you went out of your way to do anybody a favor? What did it cost you? If you thought of something recent, thank the Lord. You're becoming more like Jesus. If you couldn't think of anything, don't stand around feeling guilty. Go help somebody. Needy folks are all around us. All right. That's the end of this daily devotional today. And go ahead and leave in the comments down below maybe something you got from this, or maybe the greatest white elephant gift you ever got. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.